Hi, I'm Michelle Burnler and I work for the Western Australian Association for Mental Health. Today we'll be talking about practice standards and quality indicators as part of the NDIS Sector Readiness Project. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians on the land of which this is being filmed, the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation. I pay my respects to elders past, present, and acknowledge that this is Aboriginal land that was never ceded. I also extend those respects to any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander people watching today. I would also like to acknowledge the courage and contribution of people with lived experience, whether that is lived experience of mental distress or of caring for someone with mental distress. Those with mental distress have shaped the way for us, and we really do stand on the shoulders of giants. So let's start talking about practice standards and quality indicators. What are they? They are the performance benchmark for service providers as outlined in the NDIS Rules 2018. There are a core set of modules and supplementary modules. Each module has a series of high-level participant-focused outcomes, and each outcome has quality indicators that auditors use to assess a provider's compliance with that practice standard. So essentially we have modules, and within those modules we have practice standards, and within those practice standards we have quality indicators. Let's talk about the core modules. These are rights and responsibility for participants, governance and operational management, provision of supports, and support provision environment. Core modules are the modules that everyone needs to achieve in order to be audited and provide services if they are a registered NDIS provider. Supplementary modules are only needed if you're providing that type of support. So the supplementary modules are high intensity daily personal activities, specialist behaviour support, implementing behaviour support plans, early childhood supports, specialised support coordination, and specialist disability accommodation or SDA. So for example, if a provider is providing specialist support coordination, they would need to complete all the core modules as well as the supplementary module specialist support coordination. Why do these exist? They ensure quality service provision, essentially making sure that service providers are providing a high quality service to NDIS participants. They encourage positive participant experiences through the provision of high quality services. They uphold human rights legislation. Human rights legislation is something that is the base of everything we do in the NDIS industry, and those rights need to be upheld. And finally, the quality indicators suggest ethically sound practice. Now I'm going to talk you through what you need to do to adhere to the practice standards and why you need to do each item on the list. So the first thing you want to do is download the practice standards. These are the specific NDIS requirements that you need to meet as a registered provider. So you need to know what they are. Then you want to deep dive into one standard at a time. A thorough understanding of each practice will inform your process. You then want to use an assessment tool to measure your progress against the practice standard. There are some really great ones by Mental Health Commissioning Council or by WAM, and you can find these on our Care Hub. An assessment tool will keep things organised and help you comprehend strengths and areas for growth. You then want to document the evidence against the standard. Evidencing how you meet the practice standard is how you meet the requirements of audit. You then want to get creative in thinking about how you could better meet the standard. This ensures greater outcomes for clients, because if you're thinking about how you could go above and beyond, clients will have a better experience. Finally, you want to make and record a plan for how to act accordingly. WAM has a fantastic continuous improvement register that can be used for this purpose. The purpose of this is to evidence your commitment to continuous improvement. This is what the NDIS Practice Standards and Quality Indicators page looks like. You can access the NDIS Practice Standards and Quality Indicators through the NDIS website or through this QR code. We've talked about the modules, now let's talk about the standards themselves. So within the first module, Rights and Responsibility for Participants, we have 5 practice standards. The first is person-centred supports. The second is individual values and beliefs. The third is privacy and dignity. The fourth is independence and informed choice. And the fifth is violence, abuse, neglect, exploitation and discrimination. The second module is called Governance and Operational Management and has 9 practice standards. The first is Governance and Operational Management. The second is Risk Management. The third is Quality Management. The fourth is Information Management. The fifth is Feedback and Complaints Management. The sixth is Incident Management. The seventh is Human Resources Management. The eighth is Continuity of Supports, and the final one is Emergency and Disaster Management. In the third module, Provision of Supports, we have 5 practice standards. We have access to supports, support planning, service agreements with participants, responsive service provision, and transitions to and from a provider. In the module Support Provision Environment, we have 5 practice standards: safe environment, participant money and property, management of medication, mealtime management, and management of waste. You can access further information about these practice standards and quality indicators, as well as the tools mentioned, at the WAM NDIS Sector Legacy Toolbox on the Care Hub. Thank you for joining us for this webinar.